Right, good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Ratish here. For today, we'll be going through the comprehension practice answers for the comprehension you given last week called Flushed Away. Now, I do want to apologize in advance for any feedback this video may give. There's something a little wrong with my computer, but I do hope you can hear my voice. Now, your teachers will be marking this comprehension. However, I released this video simply because I think it's important to understand why you're right or wrong, how the answers are derived, and why some answers are not correct. Okay, so let's proceed. And I hope that you have completed this. If you have not completed it, please complete this comprehension first. If you have completed the comprehension, make sure that you have the text and your answers in front of you so you can make certain references. All right, so let's move forward. Now, in paragraph 1, what made kampung life a very happy and memorable one for the writer as a young child? Now, first of all, this question is called a direct question. Now, it's very, very important that you need to understand, identify what kind of question types they are. Now, what is a direct question? I think you should know. It's a question where you can find the answer directly in the text and you can pick out the answer and put it in the form of a sentence, and there you go. And it is commonly seen as the simplest type of questions, along with quotation question. However, there are certain traps that you must be aware of, and I'll talk about that through this presentation. So, repeat question 1. In paragraph 1, what made kampung life a very happy and memorable one for the writer as a young child? Now, you will notice that in lines 3 to 5, you will see these lines that give you kind of a clue what the answer is. Most of my memories of kampung life are happy ones. The kampung held everything a young child like me would want: space, playmates, and adventure. Now, you can't copy the whole thing. That doesn't make sense. The question asks you to basically identify what made kampung life a very happy and memorable one for the writer as a young child. Now, in comprehension, as much as it's important to be accurate in your answers, it's also important to be precise in your answers, right? So, if you copy the whole thing like this, then this does not make any sense. You are wrong. Your answer is the idea is for you to put it in the form of a sentence to get the main idea. And the main idea is this: the kampung is really something that gave the author everything that she wanted, which was space, playmates, and adventure. So your answer would look something like this, right? The author, or she, has everything a child would want: space, playmates, and adventure. And it's important to have the space, playmates, adventure in your answer because it gives greater detail as to what about kampung life made her very happy. All right, now let's move on to the second question. The second question is not a direct question. Why did the writer feel that her wish for a flushing toilet located inside the house would will sound ridiculous to the younger generation today? Now, this is what we call an inferential question. Now, this is a type of question where there are clues in the text that may give you an idea what the answer is, but you cannot just pick it out. You basically have to play detective work. You actually have to look at the clues and derive an answer based on these clues. Now, this is a bit more challenging, but I for one, find this the most interesting because I like playing detective. So here, we have to look for the clues, all right? Now, you will find the clues here in line 6 to 9. To the younger generation today, this might sound as an absurd statement. Now, what he's referring to is the wish for a flushing toilet inside the home. However, I was born at a time when indoor toilets that flushed were considered a great luxury. So let's have a look at this idea. Why is it an absurd statement, or why is it ridiculous to the younger generation today? Well, basically, you should ask yourself that question. Um, well, first of all, understand that in this text, the author states that indoor toilets that flushed were considered a great luxury in her time when she was a kid, way back in the day, when she lived in the kampong. So what does that mean? If it's a luxury, that means very few people in Singapore had an indoor toilet that flushed. And if they probably did, then they're probably a bit more well off than those who live in the kampong. So essentially, that meant that they had outdoor toilets. All right. Now, she wanted an indoor toilet that flushed, and that's absurd to the younger generation simply because of the fact that that's something that we all have in our homes and we take for granted. So that's why it's ridiculous. All right. So if you just copy this answer, that's not answering the question because one, that's not the idea of inferential question, and two, it doesn't answer why it sounds ridiculous to the younger generation. It sounds ridiculous to the younger generation simply because every home today has an indoor toilet that flushes, and therefore it would seem ridiculous to the younger generation because we take that for granted. So there you go. It is because all houses today have their toilets built inside their houses or have indoor toilets. So to them, it is something normal or nothing unusual or nothing surprising, which is why it's ridiculous that the wish for a flushing toilet located in the house sounds ridiculous. All right, let's move on. All right, next question. In line 12, what do the two outhouses refer to? Now, line 12 is in paragraph 2, but in paragraph 1 you have the idea that she always wanted a flushing indoor toilet. So the outhouses really give you an idea of what they are, and essentially it is an outdoor toilet. All right, this is an inferential question. The answer is not clearly listed there, though it seems obvious. But please, the answer must have the word outdoor or toilets outside the home. If you do not have that, then I cannot give you the mark. So it's the outdoor toilets or toilets that are located outside the home. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Number 4. At the end of paragraph 2, the writer says a permanent darkness greeted all visitors daily. Why was there a permanent darkness in the outhouse? Now, if the outhouse is completely dark and is permanently dark, that tells you that there's no light inside, natural or electrical. So what does that mean? That means there were no lights installed in there. Now again, this is an inferential question. The answer is not stated clearly, but you get the idea that the outhouses or the outdoor toilets had no lights installed. Now, we need to be clear here about what the answer is and what the answer isn't. All right, now it's quite clear that there are no lights installed, but it's nothing to do with the fact that there's little natural light because there's no mention of that. And also, we're not talking about the outhouses didn't have lights at that time or at night. No, it's nothing to do with that. They never had lights at all. All right, so that is the answer for question 4. Notice that there are quite a few inferential questions. So again, you'll have to start playing detective work. You'll start to have looking at clues in the text and also some of common sense and general knowledge as well. Okay. Question 5. With reference to paragraph 3, explain in your own words how the writer felt going to the toilet when she was younger. Now this is an in your own words question. That means that the answer is located in the paragraph or in the passage, but you're not allowed to use some words. So this is essentially a test of your vocabulary, or a test of you to be able to substitute or rephrase certain words and while retaining the meaning of the answer. Now here we are answering in your own words, but we know that the answer is located in the text. Now I noticed that I highlighted the word felt here. Now we're looking at how the writer felt going into the toilet when she was younger, and you will find the answer in line 19. Right, going to the toilet petrified me. Now, in an own words question, you are not expected, and you should not be replacing every single word in your original answer. All right, so here you're not replacing the word going or toilet. You're looking at the word about how the writer felt, and the word here is petrified. So, the word petrified to many is scared, but it's not just being scared, it's an intensity of fear here. All right, so if you just wrote the word scared, that's not enough. We must say that the writer felt terrified, very frightened, extremely scared, or greatly scared, or not greatly scared. Sorry, greatly terrified. All right, we will not accept scared as an answer. You must have the word very extremely to show the intensity of the fear. Okay, so that is an in your own words question. Next one, lines 19 and 20. Even before the darkness engulfed me, the stench invaded my nostrils. Identify the word or phrase in the given sentences that suggests. Now, this question is a quotation question. Now, a quotation question is rather simple, well, relatively simple, but here you are required to pick out a word or a phrase and answer it in open and close inverted. All right. And the thing about, and there's also a trap to it, and sometimes students may add a lot more words than required that take the meaning away from the answer. So precision here is also very, very important. So here, the strong unpleasant smell is stench, right? That's located clearly in paragraph 3, right? Please is only a one word answer, right? If you add any extra words, if you see the stench invaded the nostrils or whatever, no, that's not right. You just required to give one word for this, and the focus is the word stench, and stench means a strong unpleasant smell, which is why we're not accepting any other words in addition to the word stench. The next one, consumed into the blackness. So here, consumed, sorry, blackness, dark is same thing as darkness. Consumed, engulfed me. So the darkness engulfed me, or consumed into the blackness. So clearly, these are the answers for the quotation question. Now, please note that the answers must be in open and close inverted. So if you do not do that, then you could be penalized. You could get 0 for that. All right. This is a 2-mark question. It should be a simple 2-mark question, but please do not be complacent, and please learn if you've made an error from this. Thank you. Next question. Pick out a word in paragraph 3 that suggests the villagers adored Uncle Poo. All right. Now we are again looking for a word. So if you're picking out a word, it is obviously a quotation question. But what is the word focus on? It's focused on the idea that the villagers adored Uncle Poo. Now this should be quite straightforward. And if you notice, Uncle Poo is only introduced at the end of paragraph 3. So it makes things a little simpler in terms of what words you could pick from. But here the word is endearingly, right? Endearingly. We called him Uncle Poo endearingly. Obviously, poo is play on the word for feces or excrement. So they call him Uncle Poo. And yeah, the word endearingly here means adored. So that is answer for question 7. Now the next question, question 8. Why do you think Uncle Poo did his work without a single twitch of his nostrils? Now when you see why do you think located in a question, the phrase why do you think located in a question, immediately it's an inferential question. No doubt whatsoever. That tells you it's an inferential question. Right. Now we cannot find the answer directly in the passage, but we do know that there are certain clues. Now, Uncle Poo did his work without a single twitch of his nostrils. When do we twitch our nostrils? When we smell something that is either really pleasant or very unpleasant, right? And that's how the twitch works, right? You smell something, whether it's food that you like or you do not like, something that smells fantastic or something that smells terrible, your nostrils will twitch. But here, his nostrils did not even twitch. So it tells you clearly that he is not affected by the smell whatsoever. And that is clearly it. However, there were some students who wrote that he's experienced in the job. No, it doesn't really say that he's experienced. There's nothing in there that tells you clearly that he's been doing this for many years. But clearly, he's not affected. And that is a clear answer that he's not affected, he's not bothered by the unpleasant stench, or he's immune to the stench. It doesn't affect him in any way whatsoever. So we will not accept the fact that he's used to it or he's experienced. I think that is a bit too vague as an answer that explains why he did it without a single twitch of his nostrils. Okay, now let's move to question 9. All right. Why have Uncle Poo and his colleagues vanished? Now here, this is an inferential question. There are clues in there that tell you what the answer could be, and it comes from lines 36 to 37. Uncle Poo and his colleagues have long since vanished, flushed away into the pages of history by modern indoor plumbing. So obviously, modern indoor plumbing is responsible for why Uncle Poo and his colleagues have vanished. Now, when we talk about vanished here, we don't mean literally vanished. We're talking about the fact that they do not work in these jobs anymore. They don't have these jobs anymore for the obvious reason that you don't have outhouses anymore. You only have flushed indoor toilets, and therefore that job is that job doesn't exist anymore. All right, it's obsolete. Okay, so essentially, there are no more outdoor toilets for them to clean. All right, or modern indoor plumbing has taken over their job. So they're not plumbers anymore. So they were never plumbers, they were actually soilmen, and that job does not exist anymore, and that's why they have vanished, simply because there are no outdoor toilets for them to clean, or because modern indoor plumbing has taken over the jobs. We will not assume the following answers. We will not accept the following answers. One, they died. No, there's no evidence of that. Two, they're outdoor plumbers. What? Huh? And three, they were flushed away into the pages of history. No, that is definitely not the answer. All right. So obviously, technology has pretty much taken over their jobs. All right. Next question. In paragraph 4, we are told that the writer and the villagers regarded Uncle Poo as an unsung hero. How else did they view him? How else did they view him? Answer in your own words. Again, in your own words question, we can find the answer directly in the passage, but we cannot use the answer wholesale. We must change some words. And where do we get the answer from? We get the answers in lines 35 and 36. He was really a man of immense importance for all of us. He was really a man of immense importance for all of us. Now, again, we do not have to change every word, but how else did they view him? Of immense importance, clearly. And that's where we have to change the word. Now, immense means greatly or significantly, and importance means, well, something that's significant or something of value. Okay, so they viewed him as someone of great significance, value, or someone who's vital, who matters a lot or deserve great respect in the community in the kampong. So notice your 2 marks here, and in the 2-mark answer, notice your 2 parts to your answer. It's not just that he is significant or he's got great significance. No, he's got great significance in the community. All right, that's very, very important. Okay, now, next question. Oh, we will not accept the following answers. We will not accept that he's a savior or role model or he's hardworking or brave. No, this is about him being important or great, immense importance. All right, so we will not accept those answers. 11. With reference to paragraph 5, state 2 features of modern toilets. Now, this is a direct question. Very simple, 2 marks, but there is a trap, because in paragraph 5, you'll notice that there are 4 possible answers. There are 4 possible answers, but you should only put in 2. Okay? Now, the answers, they are self-flushing options, automated jet streams with hot or cold water, aromatherapy, or music to drown out unpleasant sounds. Now you are only expected to list 2. So any of the 2 is fine, and put it in a sentence and you get the 2 marks. If you put 1 answer instead of 2, you only get 1 mark. However, what happens if you have more than 2 answers? Now this is where here's a concept called excess denies. So if you give 3 reasons, you're giving 1 more than expected, we will minus 1 mark, and then you will get 1. If you give 4, then it's 2 minus 2, you get 0. So it's called excess deny. So this is a clear trap in these type of direct questions. When they ask you for 2, just give 2. That's all, right? And then it's an easy 2 marks, all right? And you should really be unhappy to yourself after this in future comprehensions if you make this kind of error of excess denies answers. Okay, now we move to question 12. Which word in paragraph 6 suggests the action of the water being flushed? Now here we're looking at the action of the water being flushed. This is a quotation question, obviously. The word, we're asking you to just identify a word. Your answer must be open and close inverted. And you will notice that in paragraph 6, we're looking for a word that suggests the action of the water being flushed. Not the flushing itself. The action of the water. So in the action of the water, it's about how the water moves. And that's why the answer is swirl. It is not flush. Alright? It is not flush. So the answer is swirl. Easy 1 mark there. Do not forget to answer in open and close inverted. Now, we're going to move to question 13. Question 13 is what you call a global question. Write down the writer's main feelings in each of the following paragraphs by choosing one word from the box. Now, it is not the main idea, but the main feelings. All right, so please, we're talking about the main feelings in each of the following paragraphs by choosing one of the words from the box. Now, there are 6 options. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the answer first and then explain. Okay, now the first answer on paragraph 1 is the word reflective. Here, the author talks about his time, he's reminiscing, he's thinking about the time, or she's thinking about the time in a kampong. She's also thinking about what she loves about a kampong, and she's also talking about, oh, on hindsight, perhaps I would have liked a indoor flushing toilet. She's being reflective. She's thinking about the past. All right, and that is the strongest answer of the 6 options given. The next one is careful. Now she's being careful here because your clue is in line 11 with the word warily. I used to walk out warily out of our gate because just around the corner, 2 outhouses loom ominously. So again, she's being very careful as she walks out, and that's how she feels. And then she describes the outhouse a bit more that tells you why she needs to be careful. Now, there's some of you who probably thought that the answer for paragraph 2 is uncomfortable, but actually is the answer for paragraph 3. Now, paragraph 3, it's clear that she's petrified with the idea of going to the toilet. But here, what makes her uncomfortable? The stench. It invades her nostrils. That's definitely uncomfortable. Also, she has to squat in an awkward position. That also makes her uncomfortable. Then there are flies, dozens of flies swarming around. Um, Creating an unwelcome tickling sensation. Again, great discomfort. So that clearly paragraph 3 is about being uncomfortable. And what about paragraph 4? About being grateful. Obviously, she's talking about Uncle Poo and how Uncle Poo has helped the community by being a soilman and clearing the waste every day, and that's great gratitude. And also, he's an unsung hero and of immense importance. So clearly, gratitude. The author shows gratitude in paragraph 4. So that comes to the end of my presentation, but please understand that when it comes to these kind of questions, do understand how to go about answering these questions and the requirements of these questions as well, and the thinking behind what you need to do to answer the questions and certain traps that you need to avoid making certain mistakes. All right, that's the presentation for today. If you have any further questions, please ask your respective EL teachers. Thank you.